also.
Yeah, he's
So
looking
we
in
can
on
wait
his
till
way.
Peter
We're
gets
gonna
here.
wait there. Okay, so let's take a look at the minutes of the meeting of
Okay.
October 23rd,
Privilege of the
all right?
floor.
Oh, privilege of the floor.
Okay, I'm sorry, yes, Pat.
I'm here to talk about the noise ordinance. The first thing is, I wanna know why
Identify yourself for the record, please.
Sorry.
Go out of there, sorry.
Pat Kucharski, resident.
Okay,
We've had construction going on in our yard for the past week. And they start every day at 7 o'clock.
Okay.
And it's my understanding that they are, these are services being contracted by the town.
Mhm.
And it would seem to me that it's the town's administration's responsibility to let the subcontractors know that there's a noise ordinance.
We do let them know that there is a noise ordinance, and they requested to start early because they lose daylight by 4 o'clock, 4:30 in the afternoon. We told them that they could start early, but that if we had any complaints,
I
that
just
they
want them
would.
out of there. I don't care if they start at 5 this time, but I just want them out of there. I'm sick of all the noise.
What are they, Pat, what are they doing?
They're
It's
putting in the meters.
Putting in the meter
Okay.
pits.
And we lost our phone for a day, and we lost, they're having all kinds of trouble. That was one issue.
Okay.
The second issue is, it's probably now almost 2 weeks ago on a Sunday. I sat in my sewing room listening to someone blow leaves over at Village for 6 hours. I would love to see leaf blowers banned, or at least severely restricted in how they can be used full blast. Now, I've done some research online. There are a lot of towns throughout the United States that have banned it completely. There's a whole article on how to cut back on the noise. There are leaf blowers that don't make as much noise as they say. There are ways of using the thing when it's, doesn't need to be on full blast. But it is the most annoying noise, and when it goes on for hours, it's really bad. And in the summertime, I can tell you, with the windows open, because we're in a condo complex, and there's condo complexes all around us, the whole week long, in daylight hours, that's what we hear. And it echoes, and I understand people have to do their work, but, let's give it a break. So I'm here asking, what can I do to make some changes in that?
My initial thought is, if you can gather enough signatures, you can come up with a warrant article to either change or restrict the use of these things during certain hours. I don't know what happened are you talking about Arlington, Massachusetts?
Oh, there's a whole.
Because there's one that was in Arlington that I guess they had their vote last week to see about repealing it or anything else. But I think reasonableness and are we enforcing it is the other question. Is machinery allowed in construction on Sundays?
No, I already asked that question, and
And for some reason, I think it's not.
it is not. So that guy shouldn't have been working on Sunday, whoever he was. If it was in my condo complex, you can bet that I'd have been out there and tell him, shut the damn thing off and get out of here.
Mhm.
But, so I called the police, but I talked to Chris and Dave, and that's
Yeah.
been resolved. The officer that was on didn't know that they couldn't, he was going by the rule of 8 AM or not, 8 AM to 7 PM, they can do what they want. But they said leaf blowers are part of that noise ordinance. That's what David
Any
Chris told me.
noise that causes a problem is part of the noise ordinance.
Mark, maybe we ought to get the noise, I don't know if we want to do it today's meeting, but let's get the noise ordinance back out.
Okay.
Is it, and we'll take a look at it. Does it
That's a
just specify
selectmen's-
time, or
It
does
does specify time.
No, I know it does that, but does it also
And days.
specify level?
No, it
No,
is
no
not,
levels.
it is not.
I think what you're talking about,
What
level
we're
and
talking
length
about
of
here is
time.
decibel level, and
Right.
what you're saying is when you get over a certain amount of decibels.
Right.
I mean, I know the guys are wearing earphones because it's and maybe we
Right.
need to have some kind of an ordinance that
Okay.
addresses loud and obnoxious noises as
Yeah.
well.
I'll bring it into the next meeting and I'll have Chris and Dave do some research, because there's a
Yeah.
state statute that also
Right.
controls noises.
And I would be happy to share the research that I found online.
Yep.
That talks about, because they have newer tools, whatever you
Mhm.
call those things, that run at a much lower decibel
Right.
level than but they would, the article that I was reading says it's not just the decibel level, it's the vibration, what the thing is made out of, and some companies have worked to make them better, but I appreciate that, thank you very much. And the third thing from me is that I just want you to formally know that I am not gonna run as town clerk in the next election.
Oh, that's-
I'm retiring.
Well, I'd like to thank you for your service.
Thank
How
you.
many years have you been town clerk?
I've been town clerk for 10 years,
10 years.
and I think it's time for some of the youngins to come up and start doing some of this stuff. You know, it's not a huge
It's not-
job.
It is not fun counting those votes on, right?
Then
Just
that's
having to
not,
show up for the wedding.
that's not even it. It's just a matter of,
Yeah.
I'm getting up there in years, and it's
Oh, you're
it's
not.
harder to remember stuff. You know, and when you get asked on the street, how long do I have to get a marriage license, or stuff that I should know, I have to stop and think, you know. But I think it's not an overwhelming job in this town.
Mhm.
So there should be some of these young parents who could find the time in their day, because it's pretty flexible, and there's very few times when you really are committed to a long day. You know, a couple of education things a year and voting,
Right.
so.
Well, again, on behalf of the Board of Selectmen, I want to thank you very much for your service. And I mean, you set an example of what dedication to a job ought to be. I mean, you absolutely take it personally to heart when you,
Unfortunately.
but anyway, we're, on behalf of the town, I think we really did appreciate you years of service. Thank you
you.
very much, Pat. And we will look into into the noise ordinance. I don't know how to frame, but there, obviously it's a Sunday, somebody shouldn't have been using machinery on a Sunday. But we ought to set, you know, if it's possible, we ought to set some kind of a reasonable noise level for that kind of equipment. You know?
I think another thing that Pat brought up that I think might garner some support, and I think, Pat, you might want to, and if you have a spare minute, go out and see what kind of support you can get on a petition for a warrant article, because that's the only way we really can.
No, we can pass an ordinance.
Can we?
It's your.
Oh, okay,
Just
well,
on our
Okay,
authority.
well, let's, to get a consensus on this. But I can understand how much of a pain it would be to sit in your living room and hear a leaf blower going all day.
Yeah,
And because of the size of a couple of the condo associations, which you live in one, but one's across the street, I could see that happening. So if that is an issue to people that live there, I think we should address it.
Okay,
Yeah.
I will get more. I will talk to people and
Yeah.
see if they're as sensitive as I am to noise.
okay, now, still on privilege of the floor. I get Pete's here now. So I think we want to address might as well, rather than having you sit around, the issue of extension of the temporary use permit for the rail box venue. And
So you have the letter
I
requesting.
did, I read it, yeah.
Ray and I went over it. It was really an issue. The Board of Selectmen had extended or had put in the first approval of the use of the rail box system as a temporary use. There was a time period limit to that. They've reached that limit, and they asked Chris and I, how to get a successful program for you. And they'd like to continue the use. So as I wrote in the memo, the question is, do you want to continue it as a temporary structure? Or do you want them to go back to the planning board and do some sort of site plan review? Because it's still not going to be set up as a permanent structure the way that the jump is set up. Is that correct?
But it's a permanent, but it's intended to be a permanent ongoing use?
It's gonna be, that type of activity is a permanent activity, riding the bus and
Identify
rails.
yourself for the TV folks, please.
Oh, you need to,
Say who
just
you
say
are.
you need to, we're on
Hi,
television.
I'm Pete Stokos, the CEO of BBTX. Sorry. Yeah, so in last year, in the winters prior, we had the kids setting stuff up there just in the snow. So it's actually nice that we have a feature that's safe and they can use. Though we didn't want to permanently put it there because we didn't know if that's where it should permanently go and go through the whole site plan review with the planning board yet. It's our intent probably that's where it's going to be sited, and probably we would go in front of the planning board in the spring or in the summer so we can do something more permanent with that feature. But we're still trying to figure out the space there, with the jump and if that's the right side or not. So that's why we didn't want to do a permanent thing yet. So we actually sited on the other
That's right.
side. And then
the
we
original
moved it so
proposal-
it moved a couple
The original
times. So.
proposal was for it to be, as you're looking at the hill on the left-hand side, they moved it over to the right, so.
Okay,
But
And
it's
I brought
really, it's up to the board whether or not you want to continue this through the winter and set a time in the
but
spring.
you're setting, are you committing that you will, come up with even if it's temporary, the fact that you're doing it every year would suggest at some point in time, you have to go to the planning board and say, look, even if I'm only, it's like the wedding pavilion. They only use it for 2 months during the year, but they at some point went and the planning board said, yeah, this is an allowed use on this piece of property and to use it this way is fine. And I think you're gonna need to do the same thing. Now, if you're asking for an extension to get you to the spring so you can go to the planning board,
I think that's what we're doing right now, and I think the
well,
intent.
we're not gonna renew it again.
No, I understand, but
Temporarily.
I think the intent would be to see how it works in the winter, to make sure we like where it is and see if it's operating so we can permanently site it there. I think that is the place, but there wasn't, we do have some things we need to do to it to modify it so it actually is be able to be used by all the kids. The younger kids struggle a little bit with it because I would say it's a little aggressive. These are my snowboard coaches.
Yeah,
But,
right.
so that's one of the reasons why we didn't want to permanently say this is what it is and where it's going to be. I think we will have that information in the spring, and I understand this will be just going through the winter. We know right now just having snow the other day allows us to use it with snow, which is nice because we don't have to buy more of that ridiculously expensive carpet that you ski on and ride on. So we are trying to extend it a little bit further. But I have the other thing too. I'm going to need to come to the planning board with are the tramps, because the outdoor tramps are really a movable thing, and we really haven't officially cited those on the property. And I would like next year to get into actually going through. Well, this is where we want the outdoor tramps, and actually build some decking and properly have that venue. So one, it looks better. Two, it functions better, and three, it fits the property better, and the town understands what we're doing there and what activity it is. So,
Ray, you got a thought?
No, it's really up to, it's really your decision.
But
I think the only comment that I would have is, once the planning board approves the site plan, then the town has a record of any buildings and facilities.
Right.
If this thing is moving around, maybe it's still.
Well,
on a temporary
I
basis.
think to me, it's always like, I don't want to get back to the situation we had with the skateboard park.
Right.
Well, we're going to do this temporarily, and then every year we're going to temporarily extend it and temporarily extend it. Well,
Right.
it's permanent now. It's at some point in time, we should have just said you can or can't do this.
Yeah, the trouble with things are moving around.
Ray, how would you like it done? I have no expertise in this, and you are in charge of the planning board. what would you like them to do? What would be ideal? I don't know if they can do a site plan review and have that amended if they want to move it, or do a temporary and then go for a permanent. Which would you prefer? Yeah,
And if they came in for a site plan now, and it got approved and they wanted to move it again in the spring, they'd have to come back for another site plan.
now is that a significant amount of extra work once you have a plan? If you're not starting with a plan from scratch?
It's all their work.
Oh, no, I understand that, I'm just trying to see it from their side as well.
Well, it'd be drawing up a new plan, I mean, and if we're gonna get
Yeah.
the architects and site plan people, that is a cost to BBTS.
But isn't
so-
it just taking your regular plan and moving something over on it?
Oh, so-
Realistically, you've got the plan set,
But you still have someone to draw it up and get it in the documents that these guys wanna see, and making sure all the features are there and existing, the existing plans, and we're gonna have a new building, so that has to be cited and it has to show what it actually looks like.
Yeah, I mean,
We'll
it's
do
a-
whatever you want, but I do say this, we're not trying to extend it like the skateboarders or whatever that deal is, it's gonna be a feature that we want on the property. We definitely didn't really know how to do it when Tim came to me, he's the one who basically designed the feature. I said, well, you gotta go talk to the town, how can we do this so we can get up and running? But then we have to figure out how do we permanently site it, and, the tramps are the other thing we need to go to the planning board with, so that's the outdoor tramps.
Right.
So there's really two features we got on that property that we haven't really gone to the
Right.
site plan review, we're gonna need to do that, I
So-
recognize that.
So we gave you 6 months,
and then,
we extended it 6 months, that would get you to the end of May.
That would be very, very helpful. Because obviously,
I'm
how
gonna,
busy
I
we're
think
gonna get
that's,
with the program.
given the fact that we're
is
here
that okay
now.
with you, Ray?
Yeah, I could, I don't have any
And
problem
then
with
just,
that. I
just
think the
put it,
one thing
you
the
might
planning-
wanna consider doing everything at once,
I think the one thing the planning board would like to see is a master plan of the whole campus,
right?
which,
We're working on that, Ray, but we don't have that to show yet. I would say by the spring, we're forming a new building committee. Our building chair is gonna be moving off, and he's the same guy for the last 7 years. I think this is his last term on the board, so we're gonna have to find a new building chair. And one of the goals of the whole organization is to come up with a master plan for the property down here and what's going on in the mountain too, because we have issues with buildings up there and what we need to be doing in the far future. So, yeah, I think by the spring, I'd have the ability to give you a preliminary master plan, thinking of where we're gonna site any future buildings. We'll know where the outdoor tramp should be, or we would like them, and where this rail box setup will be, which is probably the same location, but we can permanently say it's gonna be there.
yeah, because with a master plan, then, that would kind of eliminate things moving around, because you'd have an idea on, there's gonna be a building there where we can't put it there.
Right.
So that would be
All right,
very
I'm
helpful.
gonna go ahead and make a motion that we extend the temporary use permit until May 31st, 2014, with the understanding that we're not gonna renew it beyond that temporarily. You okay with that?
Sure. So that means they have to come in with site plan review.
They've got to,
continue
next
the
time, go
use.
see the planning board,
All right,
right?
does that work for you guys?
Yes. Thank you.
Work for
you, Ray?
I think it's very fair.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
All right, all right, so we'll, I made the motion, you seconded?
Yep.
I guess we're all in favor, all right? All right, there you go. Anything else? Okay,
Construction's going well, and it's a little bit, hopefully it
Yeah.
holds up a little longer.
Gentlemen,
I
it's
shouldn't
very
say that,
cold.
but-
Not too much longer.
Not too much longer, but a little longer, get the framing done.
all right, the approval, we're gonna step back and take a look at the minutes of the meeting of October 23rd. I do have one, it's not so much a correction, but I'd like to make sure that we're clear on this. I think it was labeled, the second item was labeled 8A.
Yeah,
And I don't think I don't think it separates, at the end of it, I had a problem with the conclusion that it came to. And I had made a note that I would like to see the last couple of sentences changed, that Mark, you will help with Mike to tell him how to draft the warrant article. And then from there on, I would like to say it would be the responsibility of the Conservation Commission to get sufficient signatures in order to put that warrant article on the town meeting agenda. And at the meeting, the selectmen took no position as to whether they recommend this, or whether they plan to recommend this article to the town. it makes it, it implies the way it's written, it doesn't say it, that we
Right.
kind of
Yeah.
approved it. That's not
Actually, I
what we're
think you were
doing.
very clear that you did not.
Right.
I just want the minutes to
Approve it and
reflect
that you
that we did
didn't
not,
do
we didn't
anything.
even, we didn't vote on it,
Right.
period. We
Understood.
didn't make a
So
decision.
please
Will you,
remove it.
will you say that again? Yeah.
Remove it at the point where Mike Aronson asked Mark to seek town councils.
Okay.
Well, no, that can stay in there. But then Mark and Mike will work together. to
I
draft
have
the
Mark and
warrant
Mike will help to draft
That-
warrant
that
article.
needs to know.
Thank you.
There you go. It's the second paragraph,
Perfect.
just something like that'll work.
Okay.
It'll be a little clearer that we didn't take a position.
Yeah.
And I got really confused by the first paragraph too.
You did, okay.
The one on the discussion of the custodial service.
Mhm.
I don't know, it was a confusing discussion to start with,
Okay.
but,
What is it, is there something specifically in there?
no,
that you-
it's. Oh, the number of, I guess we can leave it the way it was, because it wasn't resolved.
No,
No,
No.
no, you guys,
I
we got
know.
a lot of,
it was resolved,
Information.
I think it was only resolved to the effect that the school is gonna make their own decisions as to what they wanna do with custodial services, and their arrangement to share an individual will stop.
Right.
And they're
And then
gonna
we're
go and add custodial, and we're trying to still struggle out
With
with
public
what are
works.
we gonna do,
Yep.
right?
Okay.
But they don't want, the shared arrangement is, I think that was correct, that they said the shared arrangement wasn't
Okay,
working.
yeah.
Mhm.
They're gonna go include a custodian, whether full-time or part-time, I have no
That's
idea
up
in
to
their
them.
budget, it's up to them.
Yep.
Right,
okay,
all right. Anything else?
No, it's fine.
All right, I'm gonna make a motion then to approve the minutes as corrected.
Second?
All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, financial update, Mark?
we're, doing fine, you have the numbers for October and November month to date. Just like to point out that the recreation department, right now is at 92%.
Spent?
No, of collected revenues, budget
Okay.
revenues collected. They are 89% spent, but that includes 100% of their seasonal summer camp programs
Mhm.
and the waterfront. So that's not unexpected for them to be slightly ahead.
Mm-hmm.
We're 86.5% through the year,
So
so.
92%
They're
revenue is
92%
about what
revenue.
you would.
Actually, it's a little bit ahead.
Ahead?
It's a couple to 3,000 ahead of where I would expect them to be at this time.
Mhm.
We usually collect between 10 and 15,000 for the winter or the Christmas, Thanksgiving to Christmas holiday season time. So I see them being at or slightly above collections to budget on revenue, so that's good. And the other departments are basically where we expect them to be. We do, on the solid waste fees, previous conversations about instituting the flat rate.
Right.
We did not adjust our revenue estimates for the trash fees. We thought they are significantly ahead, we're 30,000 ahead of budget.
In terms of spending?
In terms of the fees that we,
Collected.
Have
because we got the
collected.
flat fee. as
Because of the
opposed
flat
to
fee.
Based on.
remember,
oh,
instead
okay.
of dumping each dumpster tip,
Right,
instead of charging that, we went to a flat rate system. And we talked about that was gonna bring in additional money.
right.
I think our estimate was somewhere around $45,000 or $50,000 more
Mm-hmm.
than the tipping.
Okay,
And it is panning out to come in at that,
right.
so we'll be able to adjust the revenue estimates next year to reflect that number.
Why we've got Ray here?
Yeah.
The experiment up
Good
at
job.
Windsor Hill. I think we got feedback at the last meeting to the effect that it was not going so well. Do you concur?
The dumpsters gone.
Yeah, the dumpster, we took the dumpster out.
We did more than that, we took the dumpster
We took
away.
the
Oh,
dumpster
all right,
out.
I didn't hear that end of the conversation.
Well,
I
somebody
just
will
heard it
look
wasn't
like
going well.
No,
That's
I
terminal.
walked all the way out there, and I'm like, hey, don't know, dumpster.
throw them in the trash dumpster, no. But Ray and I actually had that conversation earlier
Okay.
this week, and it was being just minimally used, so.
Yeah,
we-
I couldn't really tell, I mean, I go out there and it's almost empty, and then,
Right,
I don't think I never did get a count on how many times it was empty, but it certainly didn't get, and I don't know whether that was because we didn't tell people well enough, or, you know,
yeah,
but they had it all summer, and you'd think they'd be able to figure it out. It was
Figure it out,
Right next to
right.
the green dumpster.
It's right there.
Yeah.
yeah, it's not so much a matter of the mixing of stuff, I mean, although apparently they were having more problems up there than otherwise, but from the standpoint of selectmen, just so you know, our concern is that Jim Mayhew, I'm not sure we resolved this, is concerned that if we proliferated that, we were going to have to add more resources to collect. We didn't have enough people to go and pick the trash up and the recycles up. So for the time being, until we can find a more efficient way to do this, we're going to try to restrict almost all the recycles down here to the common area. And probably gonna start to question even some of the ones we put in on day one, whether they're, in some of the other areas, whether they're really necessary, or whether it'd be better to have everybody bring their recyclables to the area.
Did
So we're
our
gonna take a look at
dumpster
it again.
get contaminated with trash?
I don't think we're having a contamination
No.
problem, are we?
No, it really wasn't.
It's a
but it
manpower
was-
issue.
It was
Usage.
just the number of times that we have to drive around,
Yeah,
the
right.
number of dumpsters, that's the issue.
Well, I'd like to
So-
thank the board and town for experimenting, and it
Yeah.
just didn't work.
Well, we're haven't necessarily given up. One of the hopes is we could find a more efficient truck. I don't have, we're looking. I mean, but the next time we replace the garbage truck, right now it takes 2 people to pick up the dumpsters we have. And apparently there are solutions that require only a single person, and that would make a difference. So next time the garbage truck gets due to be replaced, we'll see if we can come up with a better arrangement or something. But I just wanted to make sure you're up to date. Okay.
The people may have been pre-trained to come to the center here anyway, so
They may have been,
they may have
yeah,
been.
right. Any other
So
department head
overall, I
updates?
think, Rachel just wanted me to let you know that, adult programming is going very well.
Seems to
Pickleball,
be more participation. I understand that
pickleball has
they got
grown.
more people showing up now than they got, that-
Well, we're adding,
Right.
we're adding a court, so we're buying the
Yeah.
materials to add a court,
It
and
becomes the
they had 14
pickleballs
we are. We're coming
pickleball capital
of New Hampshire.
of Grafton
Right.
County.
of Grafton County. But no, it's going overall very well, so.
There is a push, just so you be aware. Gee, why can't it be open on Sunday? We need to make a decision based on, the rec department needs to look at it and say, is that something we want to spend money on or not?
Okay,
I'm not, everybody's pushing me, oh, you gotta make sure it's open on Sunday. I said, I don't know. Because we gotta put manpower in there if we open it on Sunday, and I'm not sure that's a wise thing to do, so just be aware.
okay.
All right. Okay, anything else on department head updates?
No,
Okay. Calendars, I think I am around finally now.
okay.
The 27th, that
Yeah.
might be a tough
We want
day.
to talk about that,
Yeah,
that
that's-
meeting on Wednesday?
And however you want it, we've done it on Tuesdays
I could go
before.
for Tuesday, it doesn't bother me. Are you around for Thanksgiving or in town?
No, I am here, so we can either Tuesday's fine. Fine, whatever
Tuesday
you'd
would
like
be
to do.
better
Tuesday
if
would be
we could.
preferable, I
I
think.
have to go to my in-laws, so if we could do it Thursday, that would help.
I got you.
I'll take the minutes for that meeting, because I have to go
You
to
have to go to your
my.
in-laws too, that's right. So if we could move it to Tuesday, the
Yeah,
twenty-sixth, that would be
Same
good.
time?
Same time, 3:00. And if we could post that, Tom, thanks.
Okay, that's done. Other than that, I think we're in reasonably good shape.
All right, can I throw
When are we gonna do, Mark, budgets?
We had
First
said.
2 weeks in
the
December?
week- Well, we had said the second week of December, starting on
Okay.
the 9th, I think, was our department head reviews.
Okay, good, all right. Property, let's go to new business then. Property tax levy warrant.
Yep, you have the
Sign
the
this?
bills went out on Friday, you didn't sign the actual warrant.
But
for the
this is
bills.
what we
You
reviewed and
approved-
agreed to.
Yeah, you approved the tax rate and signed the rate.
Okay,
You can just give that to me.
Yeah, she,
now, this 2013 ratio study summary report, I'm not exactly sure I know what you were talking about.
We go through it every couple of years.
I know, we go
Well,
through,
no,
it
we
seems
go
like we're
through
doing it
this
every
every
year
year.
now,
No,
we're
no,
off.
no,
I
this
mean,
is
we
a-
just did a revow.
No, the state, every year, the state does its own ratio study. Okay?
Right.
So this report is the state's report to us
Right,
on what they found with sales. So the statistics here, the median ratio is the ratio that we are mandated to keep between 90 and 110%. And
okay.
you can see that our current median for any and all is 91.5%.
Now,
So-
what does the 91.5%
That
measure? That means
That
what?
when you look at the sales that occurred in the prior year,
Right,
they are 8.5% higher than our assessment.
okay.
So the values that we have in the computer right now are 8.5% on the aggregate, 8.5%
This is
lower
based on how many
or
sales?
higher than the,
Based on how many properties would have been involved?
well,
They knocked out a few.
we
so-
knocked out a few, so we used 62.
62, would they have been predominant, were they a good cross-section?
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
There were only 2 single-family homes,
Right.
and there were 57 single residential condo units and 2 residential lanes.
Yeah, right, right, okay.
Now, of the 62 sales, Karina looked at it, of the 62 sales, we had 44 that sold above what we have them assessed at. So 71% of our sales were higher than the assessed value that's in the computer right
Did you
now.
get an aggregate percentage of?
Well, that's what the 91, that's what the 91 and a half
Right.
measures, is the aggregate. But that just gives you, in terms of volume, an idea of
Right.
what we're seeing. I don't know where the
Is 60
residential.
sales fairly typical?
Yeah, it's
I mean,
usually
the sales
between
volume
60 and
hasn't
80.
declined a lot.
No,
No.
no.
I would say it's a little bit higher this year than it was last year, but not significantly.
Yeah, we
Okay.
did, during the downturn, we fell off to maybe the 40s and 50s. But we generally are between the 60s and 80s
Okay.
per year for sales. I don't know where the the 2 single-family homes and the 2 residential lands fell, whether those were above assessed value or not, but we could check that if you want. But basically, those are
Were
the
those
numbers.
2012 sales or 2013 year to date?
They would have been through September of 2013. So
Okay.
March 1, 2012 to September of 2013.
Okay.
The other thing that just has me a little concerned is that our PRD, which is, no, I don't remember what it is.
Prime, something.
It measures whether or not it is the lower assessed properties or the higher assessed properties that
Okay.
are being over assessed.
Right,
The PRD, when it is high, means that the lower end of the assessments are being over assessed. So the single-family homes, okay, right now, with a PRD of 106 or 1.06,
Mhm.
means that the higher assessed properties, the single-family homes generally, are are under-assessed.
But you only have
Okay.
two as a sample.
But we only have two, and that's is we got such a small
And
number.
with the two arm's length transaction, are you including the Donovan's sale?
No.
No,
No.
So that was kicked out.
Yes.
What were do you know what the sales were?
I can't think of them at the top of my
I
head.
don't know.
One of the things that they do in Mass within the town where I have a property is they would take a board, they'd have a board in the town hall of a picture of the house or the
Mhm.
property and the sale price where anyone who came in could look and see.
Mhm.
Well, we have the book
Yeah.
that has
Yeah.
every sale.
Right, but this is more of a, it's, well, something to talk about.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
Right, and,
but-
well, and on
but-
all, and in the kiosk, in the lobby in the kiosk,
Right.
that Avatar assessing, it shows the sale price and when it was sold and all that
Right.
jazz as well.
So in both measures, we're kind of on the edge,
We're on the edge.
but
And
we're okay.
We are okay right now. Mike, as I wrote in the
Right.
memo, one thing that we may want to consider is putting the money in to the 14 budget, not for a full reval, but for a statistical update. The last time we did that, which was 4 years ago, it was about $20,000 that we
Right.
budgeted.
If we don't budget,
Mhm.
right, we don't budget the money for next year's budget.
Right.
We're gonna stay with where we're at, the ratios will come in again, right?
That's
And
correct.
maybe they go outside the limits, and then
That's
what happens?
Then the state will come back and tell us to do a statistical update
In when?
will-
In 2015?
in 2015.
Right.
Well, why don't we put the money in 2015?
But we
Yeah.
can,
I think with only two.
I think these are jumping around, that's my
I
concern.
think there's so much, and the market.
The market's
I'd say,
strange
yeah.
in
Let's
terms
see
of
what happens
pricing
for
right
another
now.
year, let's see if
I'm
they make
fine.
it.
I'm
Yeah,
fine with that.
because it may have gone the other way, and I don't think there's any need to put the money in next year's budget.
Okay.
I think we, we may need to do it in 2015, but these ratios could move back for all
They
we
could.
know. I mean,
They
we don't
could.
know.
Okay,
Um,
well, we'll wait, that's really
Yeah.
the,
Okay.
that was the guidance that I was looking for. We won't budget anything. We'll do our regular pickups, and that's all we'll do, assessing wise for next year.
All right, the water meter, other than annoying the heck out of Pat, what are we doing?
Well,
Must be way behind.
we.
Oh, we are way behind.
Yeah, the government
Well,
shut
yeah.
down, we couldn't order the meters, we couldn't
Right,
get
we couldn't
approval.
order
This,
anything. So-
the government shutdown does some things.
Yeah.
So we are working on the third and fourth pits right now.
Okay,
Unfortunately, that's only half of them in Windsor Hill, so they still got a long way to go.
Windsor Hill is actually the
Windsor Hill is
biggest
the biggest.
installation, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, the biggest single condo installation. The other thing that we have found is our regulations require our water and sewer lines to be 10 feet separation. They are, in Windsor Hill, they are 18 inches apart. They were put in the same trench. There was not an individual trench that was dug for the water and the
Who
sewer
built
lines.
those?
I don't know. We have
Did the
gone-
regulation exist when those were built?
Oh, I'm sure it did.
I don't know
Well-
what the regulation was at that time, but the current regulations were drawn up in the 1980s, so.
Which gives you but there's
But-
another option, you can double wall the sewer pipe, right?
That's correct, but we're not, what it's causing is, remember, our vaults are 4
Right.
foot square. So we are actually having to move each water line enough so that we can drop the
Falls.
concrete structure in. That's causing extra time and obviously extra work on the contractor's part. Rural development has today approved doing a change order, at least in the case of Windsor Hill, to do that moving of the line. And we're getting a price from Dana so that we have a unit cost for each one of these going forward, but there will
Okay.
be some additional costs. We do not know if we get into village condos or some of the other older developments, if we're gonna run into the
At
same
this stage,
problem.
you have an order of magnitude estimate of how, for the ones you've done so far,
Yeah,
how much is it running over what you was projecting?
I don't have that
It's gonna be
number, I
huge.
will email that,
I just want to make sure that, because I just want to avoid getting these misunderstandings in the future.
Yep.
I'd like to get in the minutes, the note that right now, the actual building experience is over what the estimates are, and we're working on trying to figure out what that number is.
yeah.
So that when you'll come back and yell at you, you never told us,
No,
you know.
right. No, I understand. I will email you as soon as I get the unit price from Dana, which Joe and Jim Mayhew are working on right now. I'll let you know. But, if it is just this development, it's gonna be 8 of the 35 installations, it won't be that bad. But if we run
Of course,
into
it's
it,
gonna be bad, you're digging,
When we
a
have this and
significant
we
amount
have
of holes,
village,
and moving,
villages.
you're doing plumbing too.
yeah, but Mike, it would only be 8 of the 34 installations.
Oh, I
Is
understand.
village part of this as well? We
Oh, we don't know.
No, I
until-
mean, is village.
Yes, they are
Pit-
part of the pits. They are
Yeah,
part of the
whatever is done at Windsor Hill, probably village is
pits.
one step
I'm
back.
anticipating.
But I'm just trying to
Yeah.
say, it's not gonna be cheap, it's a lot of work for them to do.
Oh, yeah, it'll be several thousand per.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a
Yeah.
lot of money.
Yeah.
And we're screwed again.
We're not-
But it's not our fault, it's not our fault, Mark, it's
No.
yours.
We're trying to get this done as economically as we can, and I'll let you know what the amount is per. But yes, we are
Probably could've
screwed
gone
by
for-
the fact that the lines are 18 inches apart.
Well,
Which
then we
I
could've
feel
got-
sorry
could've
for
gone
Dana
bottled
White
water.
also, because he was digging one of the first pits in Windsor Hill, and he actually hit the sewer pipe and broke it. He didn't know it was there. It wasn't supposed to be, it was supposed to be 10 feet away. So, this is just, not a good setup right now. So,
Okay,
We're working on it,
all right.
okay?
Any other questions about
No.
that?
What do we got?
Correspondence?
Well, I included the letter because this came in after our last meeting, and I just wanted to be, while we were on Ustream, the letter from the U.S. Attorney's Office responding to our letter from several months ago, and just letting us know basically we're working on it and not making any real representations beyond the fact that they were working on it.
Yeah, basically, the letter tells us, I don't want to be sarcastic, that there is a U.S. Attorney's Office.
Yeah.
someplace in
But
that
but
state.
who's the attorney,
Other
is
than
someone
that, we
signed
don't know
for him,
anything.
The
who's,
assistant U.S. attorney.
but who's actually doing the case?
The assistant U.S. attorney.
Which is who,
Yeah.
because of the letter,
Oh, Morse,
Bill Morris.
Bill Morse.
but who signed the letter?
Bill Morris.
But who's the other name?
The other name is
The
John, the U.S.
Oh,
attorney.
okay,
He signed it for him,
okay,
Okay,
okay?
and we know the property is transferred.
We believe
have
it
not
has,
seen the
but we
deed.
haven't
It's,
seen the
it's in
deed.
the record, the registry record.
We haven't seen
Yeah.
the deed.
Okay.
We've seen the title checks from the title company paying for the property taxes and whatnot,
and
but
you
we
got
haven't.
paid, right? You're back due stuff?
Yes.
No.
Not,
The
not,
official water and sewer and
Any taxes?
property tax.
correct,
Right,
yeah.
no,
But
the
not
trash
the
fees.
trash
are-
fees,
yeah,
fees,
yeah,
none of
no,
that.
they're not. That
No,
has nothing to
absolutely
do with
not.
the property, right?
No. They didn't buy the company, right.
Okay. Privilege of the floor?
I've got a new one.
Go ahead.
I got an email as we were speaking. Wendy Rathgeber just sent me an email. I just forwarded it to Mark. The Hockey Academy, it seems, has cut back on the hours that it's allowing the school to use the skating time, where it's rendered the program almost impossible for them to carry on. So someone needs to talk to them. Let me read it. Hi, Mike. I just found out that the ice time available to WVES for the skating classes has been restricted to the point of making it almost impossible for the school to run their skating program. from what I remember of this agreement between the town and the hockey group, town and school use would continue to be accommodated, is that correct? Either way, I wanted to give you a heads up. Gotta love the timing right before our dinner with them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll find out.
We can find out, let's go back and see what the agreement
I'll
is.
look at the
Right.
agreement first.
I think-
before
I
I
think-
think it gave
agreement.
us some flexibility as to hours. I think the total available had to be maintained.
Right.
So
I think you're
take
right.
a look and see what we
But
got.
obviously, it's gotta be within school.
Right. Yeah, because we need to respond at some point in time to Wendy.
Yep.
You know, when we get some facts, all right?
Yep.
Board concerns and directives, I'd just like to go onto the record noting that I guess Ray Burton died yesterday.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'd just like to make a note that Ray was a true friend of this town. And it did tremendous service in terms of helping us with a number of things. And we can only hope that replaces him is even a third as effective as Ray was. And he will be missed,
Mhm.
you know. Didn't know him all that well, but he was just a terrific public servant. Okay. Any other board issues?
No.
The public part of this meeting is over.
Hey, you guys have
We're
anything?
going